Hey, I'm Ray Parker. I played Darth Maul in Phantom Menace and Solo, a Star Wars story, and G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, and you're listening to Disney Universe Podcast.
We would be honored if you would join us.
To infinity and beyond!
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing. That was all started by a mouse.
Happy Star Wars month, everybody. We are still doing our... Hey, that's no moon.
That's no moon, baby.
It is Star Wars month again. We are with our second episode of anniversaries. This week, we are talking about the 10th anniversary of Star Wars Rebels. I am one of your hosts, Joey, and of course, joining me once again is The Big Smooth at The Big Smooth on Instagram. I'm just going through the little nameplate.
Yeah, I'm also one of your hosts, not just here because you don't have a choice.
Exactly.
That's also true.
And we got the Mr. Suns Out, Guns Out tonight. So
yeah,
what's up, sir?
I don't know if y'all clocking it, but at least in our neck of the woods in Sacramento, it is warm, unseasonably warm, if you will. I believe our highs are about 12 to 14 degrees over normal. I know we're about to mellow out over the next couple of days, but I've been looking forward all week to getting in the backyard, cracking a beer, and watering the lawn, because that's what I do. I pay someone else to do the other maintenance. So, yeah,
absolutely.
It's in my pocket. I handle it. And I handle this.
Right on. So
enjoy the glass, though. Enjoy the glass.
What do we got this month? Let me get you a better view here for our YouTube viewers. There we go.
Yeah, I believe this is glass to mouth, maybe Blasphemous. But yeah, the original trilogy, you got Luke and Leia. I believe it would look a lot better with a stout, but it's a tasty glass, tasty beer. I'm enjoying Batman. This is a anniversary collab from Solaris Beer with all their local homies. What do you got? Iron Fire, Stadium, Pizza, Aftershock, A Guy with a Bear, Electric, and 8-Bit Brewing.
Nice.
The Batman holding it down.
Very cool. And as you guys know, me and Alex also do a craft beer podcast, Fresh Hops, where you listen to your favorite podcasts out there. So we just had an awesome episode released with Lindsay from Bottle Logic in Anaheim.
Look at that shit. I feel like those indentations are not jelly rolls, but actual guns. Look at the guns. I feel like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in real life.
Right on. We love the Stay Puft, but so we're going to be talking about Rebels. We're a show that we both really enjoy here. So, but before we get to the show, we got a little bit of mousekeeping we'd love to do for YouTube here. So, but first, before we give the shout outs, I just want to remind if you're new to the show, just be sure to subscribe, hit that bell, give us a like, share the show. We've gotten a lot of views on our Phantom Menace episode already. So yeah, we're well above 300 views, which is really good for this channel trying to build itself.
Misa, thank you.
Yeah, so
Misa, love you join the Disney Universe podcast.
And who else do we love that we'd love to shout out?
Misa love all the DU crew. Misa DU crew come from Gungan City underneath Naboo. We are better than Naboo because we are the DU crew. Shout outs all day to Florida Jen, Superfan Jen, our boy Wedge Antilles, Big Papa Disney, Sean, Sasquatch, Tyler, John Z, and of course, Sasquatch. We probably see you more frequently over on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees, Sasquatch. But Sasquatch, we catch you here on Earth. We love you, and we love all the DU crew. If you want to be part of the DU crew, hanging with the Gungans or hanging with us here at the Disney Universe, check us out. Patreon.com/DU crew. That's where you can find us. Right there. Right there.
Yes, sir.
And patreon.com/DU crew. 2 different tiers where you can join and participate, be part of the crew. Lots of awesome perks and things that are varying when you join. So come join and be part of the crew so we can shout you out and we can thank you. We love you, crew.
And since you sort things out, like I still got a Wedge hasn't gotten back to me, but we'll get back to him. But Tyler got one of these for a random drawing, but special crew merch. We got these awesome coasters. That was done by our buddy Jungle Cruiser.
What's on the right? What's that?
This is our official DU crew logo.
On the right?
Where?
The skull.
That's just a pirate skull.
Skull with the DU crew logo.
Yes.
Got it.
Designed by producer Christy back in the day.
Our pirate crew.
But also, you got, if you want to listen to the podcast, which will have shows back out in June once we're done with Star Wars month, you can look those up at Walt's Apartment Podcast. If you want to interact with us, you can go ahead and follow us on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, and Threads, I guess.
Just to be clear, I don't even have that. This is my coaster.
Oh.
The hair just flew off. It was made in India. Big ups to India. But,
and your coasters.
Yeah.
Strong coaster game.
This is my other coaster, though.
Yes, I got one of those.
I was going to say, Joe's probably got one of these.
I got I think all but 2 of them, but oh well. Can't find it right now. But
it looks like it says Oga's Cantina. You can read that.
Yes, on the top and bottom. I got the shirt, the Apple GP shirt. But let's jump into Star Wars Rebels 10th anniversary. We'll kind of do like a quick little synopsis. So this show was actually the first property that was produced and released by Disney after they purchased Lucasfilm. And so there's a little bit of controversy that comes with this is Clone Wars was showing, which was strong at the time. And Disney decided we're going to stop Clone Wars, even though there was at least 2 seasons left. But Dave Filoni was going to run this new show called Star Wars Rebels, which focused around a small rebel cell that was kind of like Robin Hooding around a planet called Lothal. They were introduced to a young boy who they found out was Force sensitive named Ezra. We called him Space Aladdin when the season started, and they kind of became heroes. Find out that there's a bigger rebellion forming at this time, and basically this leads into events of Rogue One and just before A New Hope, and actually ends with a prelude that ends at the end of Return of the Jedi. So this was 4 seasons long. It was a hard 4, so this did have a true beginning, middle, and end. And in my opinion, this is some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten. And as much as I enjoy Clone Wars, Rebels is definitely my favorite of the animated shows, and everything that's kind of happened after Rebels, where it's tied into live action, to comics, to past shows, has been, in my opinion, perfectly done. So it's been a great 10 years, in my opinion. and just seeing some of the characters back on live action casted perfectly in Ahsoka, I think was amazing. And I will always at Rebels always have a special place in my heart, and I'm sure yours too. Heart hands.
Right there, yeah. Rebels is beautiful, and I wish I could dial in a little bit harder where I came into Rebels and Clone Wars. I think at the same time, which would mean I probably watched Clone Wars first and then Rebels. That being said, in this house, we love Rebels.
Yeah,
we're a big stand for the Ghost Crew. Everybody. And seeing Ahsoka season 1 being basically Rebels season 5 as it picks up from the prologue or the epilogue of Rebels, and we may get to that, we may not, but I just think that's awesome, and I think it's so cool to see all those characters in live action. I love them being a part. I mean, they're already a part of Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
As far as going back and like picking out specific moments, I'm sure we'll talk in a little bit, but I think overall Rebels to me is some of the best long play Star Wars storytelling in the whole situation. And the reason why I trust in Dave Filoni and whatever he's going to do. And big ups to Kanan Jarrus. We're going to talk a lot about the homie Freddie Prinze, Zach Seiler, but shout out to him because while he may not be my favorite character, he's my favorite actor in this show.
Which is funny because when he was announced as a character, I was never a big Freddie Prinze Jr. fan. I did like She's All That. Of course,
but I remember him. So that's the thing. He registers.
Well, and yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to, that he won me over as Kanan Jarrus. Like, this is when I think of Freddie Prinze, I think of Kanan.
And I hope when he dies, that's what people think of. They're like, not that fool from She's All That. That's the dude who brought life to this Padawan, escaped, turned into, Jedi master on the run through the rebel trials.
Yeah.
Give it to him.
Exactly. And like I said, when the show started, of course I watched it when it was on Disney XD, but I was like, come on, man. Clone Wars, people don't realize that Clone Wars was on top of its game when it was canceled, and they had some promising stories, which we did get some storylines in Rebels, and of course in the return of Clone Wars season 7. But they were really plugging this crew, this Jedi in hiding, Twi'lek pilot, a Mandalorian graffiti artist that loves explosives, a Zeb, a Lestat, which, if you're a fan of the original Star Wars, you saw a lot of Ralph McQuarrie. So Zeb's species was the original sketch of what a Wookiee was supposed to be, was Chewbacca. Chopper was the original look of R2-D2. And so you see a lot of these old school, there's oranges, browns, yellows. And then, like I said, Ezra, Space Aladdin. And it's so when it started, it was okay, a little street rat kind of feeling. But I was hooked. And it was Freddie Prinze, Kanan Jarrus that hooked me when, they're chasing Ezra. And they're like, you're going to let him know the secret of our location. He's like, I'm about to reveal a bigger secret right now. And he snaps his 2 pieces that he had hanging off his belt into a lightsaber and ignites it in front of, oh man, what was his name?
Lightsabered on
the Imperial. I'm throwing
Callus.
Yes, Agent Callus. Yes, who was the main villain.
And turncoat ass.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I was in it.
What was his code name?
Well, he became Fulcrum.
Fulcrum.
After at the end of season 1, we're revealed that Ahsoka was Fulcrum, giving them clues and places to go, missions in secret. And this was the first time we saw Ahsoka since she left the Jedi Order in Clone Wars. So, I mean, the if you guys go to YouTube and look up Ahsoka Returns like videos, you see like these young kids that, you know, loved her in Clone Wars and heard their reactions when she shows up at the end of season 1, which is amazing. And one thing that was cool about the show, this was before like we had a lot of breakdown shows everywhere on YouTube and podcasts, but they did a really cool thing called Rebels Recon with Andy Gutierrez, who worked at Lucasfilm, and she would interview Dave Filoni, the voice actors, Pablo Hidalgo. So this was like an awesome companion to the show throughout its awesome run. So, but yeah, I was hooked since the beginning. And like I said, this is still one of my favorite shows. So, do you have any like initial thoughts of the show when you first tapped in? Or
I remember it being a thing. I remember when it was announced on Disney XD. It just seemed a little different. I didn't know what Disney XD was, but I didn't really tap into the show until years later when I was really plugged in with DU and everything Disney and Star Wars. And I think the pandemic for me, that's when I had time to sit down and watch all the Clone Wars, all the Rebels. And I don't even think I watched that until season 2 of Mandalorian. That's when we get Bo-Katan, right?
Yeah.
When she showed up, I was so broken, and not initially, but after I watched it, I was like, man, I really wish I had this background before seeing that, because that would have been just as big as seeing Luke Skywalker at the end for everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
Was it? So what? Yeah, because she was there at the end of season 2 too as well. But yeah, Clone Wars is dope. I love the space it fills in the timeline between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Obviously, much closer on the A New Hope side, and the cameos and people we get in it with Leia and Organa and Lando and all these people who we know that we're going to see on the other side of stuff. I guess not Organa but yeah, it's a dope show. It makes you want to know more about the other separate cells that were part of the resistance when it was first starting, prior to them all just becoming the rebellion. But yeah, I stand hard for the Ghost Crew. I'm thankful that they decided that was a part of the universe they wanted to explore, and that I was able to come into it later on and plug in and just further expand the Star Wars story for me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Any favorite characters that came up from the show?
You never asked, Joe.
Of course I was going to ask.
I love all of them, but I gotta say, Garazeb is my guy. The Lasat, as you previously mentioned, guy designed from the original concept art for Chewbacca. That's my dude. I'm super stoked to see him show up in live action in what do we just have? Ahsoka.
Yeah,
I think we might have got him quick in something else.
Yeah, we saw him in Mandalorian the last season.
There we go.
And
hopefully more. Hopefully more.
Nice. This show was like littered with amazing characters, new and old, and even like the old characters, it made me like them even more. Like the old Rex, Hondo, Bo-Katan. I mean, we love it, but I think original Ghost Crew. I love Hera. Hera is an amazing character. She's an amazing pilot. Vanessa Marshall, who voiced her, kicked ass voicing her. And of course, you can't mention Hera without mentioning Chopper. Chopper's probably just barely my favorite Astro droid, just over R2 by the closest of margins. He is awesome. He's awesome at Disneyland.
So I'm about Chopper. I'm about Hera. I'm about Zeb, who is still my favorite character.
Yeah.
But the reason I love this show the most, this shit was a fucking vehicle for Thrawn to get off, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I'd be remiss. I should say he's probably my favorite character, but I'm just so glad that he was able to get off in this. I'd say above any character in the Star Wars universe, has the most to owe to the novelization universe.
Yeah.
As far as obviously his impetus, but his whole following comes from, there's an original trilogy of Thrawn books and now a prequel trilogy of Thrawn books, all by Timothy Zahn, who's written those. But getting him as a main character in Star Wars Rebels, and then obviously seeing him in Ahsoka, like fucking get off, man. I'm excited. Obviously, I feel like I know this means we're getting Thrawn on the big screen eventually with the Mandoverse culmination. That feels like where it's going.
Yeah, and his introduction was awesome because like this was a huge this was a very controversial time for Star Wars fans because this is when Disney was like, okay, there's no expanded universe that does not exist, but we're going to rebrand it as Star Wars Legends. So we're going to reprint all the books and everything. But it was a perfect way to like, because Filoni said it, and they actually used it in a quote in the movie or in the show with Ahsoka when they mentioned like, oh well, that's just a legend, isn't it? And again, Filoni said it and Ahsoka said it. Yes, but there is truth in legends. And then shortly after, we're introduced to Thrawn, who is probably the biggest character in the expanded universe / legends. So the way they brought him back,
Thrawn gang.
Yeah. So yeah, to name him as one of your favorite characters is, yeah, I could totally see that. He's an amazing character.
Well, no, I still say Zeb, but like, I mean, there's only two of us. If we had a little bit more of a round table and less of like two ends of the table at the brewery, which we're doing.
Yeah.
But Thrawn, I feel, would definitely be in the mix, and I'm glad to make a space for us to just exclusively talk about him.
Oh yeah,
goddamn! I mean, if we're talking about like top 5 things to come out of Star Wars Rebels, which now seems like it may be like the birthing place for the Star Wars universe, both backwards and forwards. Eventually.
Because an argument, I mean, like, Kanan as a character, Ezra, you see him grow. Sabine, who has an awesome story arc in season 3, but even like Ahsoka, we see full-powered adult Ahsoka for the first time in Rebels, and awesome. Like I still say, and I'm kind of jumping forward a little bit to favorite moments, but I got more than one. So one of my favorite moments is season 2 finale with Ahsoka and Vader. I mean, you don't get any better than that, and that's still one of my favorite all-time season finales of any show I've seen. I still stand by that.
You said season 2?
Season 2 finale.
Yeah, I would,
especially with Vader lowering down, standing on top of a damn TIE fighter.
I mean that's like top Star Wars right there. People are like, what are your favorite Star Wars movies? And I'm like, this, and like the end of season 2 of Rebels.
Yeah.
In there. Because ain't nothing in the film canon that can really beat that, aside from like Duel of the Fates, and I don't know.
Yeah, and we've talked about this person on so many shows, but in my opinion, that like closing of the finale is where Kevin Kiner has shined the most, as it's just a montage of what's happening after that battle. We don't know what happened with Ahsoka, what happened with Vader. We see the convoy, the little owl flying around. Kanan's blind, and Kevin Kiner just lets it rip throughout this entire scene until it's over. One of my, like I said, it is so amazing. It's one of my favorite moments. What are some of your favorite moments?
I that was definitely one of them. I can't pull too many out of the hat. I really tried to stay updated, but to be honest, I've only watched it through once. The season 2 finale, in hindsight and as watching it, is probably one of the coolest things to ever happen in Star Wars. That is awesome, especially if you're plugged into Clone Wars, because you got to know who Ahsoka is. But the relation and the emotion and the action that happens there is awesome. The fight between, spoiler alert, Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
V3, I believe, as they have a fight in Clone Wars and obviously Phantom Menace, when we thought he was dead, but he's not. Shout out again to my sister Casey. Bye-bye. She hates Darth Maul because he always comes back to life. Rebels is not abandoned from that or whatever. Rebels, Darth Maul is back. He's part of the shit. And I believe we get his final battle with Obi-Wan Kenobi on the sands of Tatooine.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that happens before, basically, where both Ezra and Darth Maul, who've become homeboys through some weird galactic dark side, light side, but mostly dark side stuff. Darth Maul gets him as his boy, and they're like, we both got to go to Tatooine to get to Obi-Wan Kenobi for different reasons. And Darth Maul goes there and duels him and gets killed. And as he gets killed, we get him saying words of, the Luke, the one that Obi-Wan had been watching over, the chosen one, will end the Sith. And Obi-Wan gives him an affirmative and tells him that, that's what he's going to do. I'm not quoting it right, but I just saw a video on it and I know that's what happened.
Yeah, it's a pretty poetic, because it's almost a similar dialogue when Obi-Wan was holding a dying Qui-Gon after he was killed by Darth Maul in Phantom Menace. He's like, train the boy, he is a chosen one. Fast forward to when Obi-Wan, is pretty much killed Darth Maul. He's holding him the same way he held Qui-Gon, and he was like, tell me he is the chosen one. And Obi-Wan's like, he is, in my beliefs. And then he dies in his arms.
Dying Qui-Gon. Dying Qui-Gon. Dying Qui-Gon, new band name, I call it.
Okay. I got it. So,
it said I was unplugged. I was just plugging.
And luckily I was at that. I mean, I was lucky enough to see that episode at Lucasfilm on the big screen. So, yeah, I got to throw that in.
Hey, you know what though? I didn't get to say it yet, but I love Rebels because it premiered on my birthday, October 3rd, 2014. We got 2 episodes of Rebels. I think they had a special name for the 2-episode premiere. But whatever the hell, my birthday, that's all I'm talking about. I'm the Rebel Man, Big Smooth. Put it in I'll change it so you see it. Rebel Man.
Rebel Man. It sounds like a Elton John song. Or more like David Bowie.
Funny you say Elton John song, because one of the reasons I love Zeb is when I say his name, I say it like an Elton John song, and I can't quite remember the song, but it's the one where they're like da 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 da, and in my head I said Gara Zeb Aurelius. You kind of know what I'm talking about, right? No? When I plug it in, I'll let you guys know. But when I say Gara Zeb Aurelius, it reminds me of Elton John. I'm like, Gara Zeb Aurelius. I know.
Maybe like, hold me closer, Zeb Aurelius.
It's not that. It's another one. Not tiny.
I remember when Zeb was young. Okay. So this was, like I said, this was loaded in favorite moments, and I'm going to throw in another one, and it was Sabine's Darksaber training with Kanan. Super intense, and for voice actors, I mean, I was just like, holy crap! Like Tia Sakai does a voice for Sabine, and Freddie Prinze. I think they were on top of their game throughout this entire training sequence, especially with Kanan's history of being a Jedi and fighting against Mandalorians for so long. So the finale, this world between worlds, all this stuff. Spoiler alert, Kanan's death, Hera flying the B-Wing. I mean, there's this this show was just littered with awesome scenes. Favorite moments. What?
Nothing. Awesome scenes. Oh. I was doing stuff with my phone and I accidentally hit the mouse and it went crazy, but I'm still here. I'm still listening.
Do you have any favorite story arcs or ones that kind of
was it Rebels where we went to the world between worlds?
Yeah, that was the first. Yeah, that's how we got Ahsoka back from the dead.
I can't really say it's my favorite story arc, but it's my favorite thing that I'm glad I knew about when I saw some other shit, Yeah. When Ahsoka happened and they went to World Between Worlds, and I'm like, fuck you, bitches. I'm glad I know about this shit. I was there. I know about the World Between Worlds. It's crazy. And then I went back and watched it. But when I saw it in a theater, I saw it in a theater, and it was fucking amazing. And I wish I saw a couple other Ahsoka episodes in a theater, but
I wish you saw the whole season.
Knowing about the World Between Worlds was awesome, and they could do a whole season of fucking Star Wars in the World Between Worlds. For those who don't know, it's like basically heaven and earth and everything in between, timeline. But it's like some Jedi shit, right? No? Jedi and Sith.
Well, just Force. Yeah. It's a strong...
It's a Force-sensitive portal.
Well, it's a strong presence of the Force in the certain, area.
It's a Force black hole. I don't know. World Between Worlds is dope. Seeing that in live action is dope, and I thank Rebels for that. I thank Rebels for Thrawn. I think Rebels for a lot of things I've seen in live action, and I hope become part of whatever the culmination of the Favreau-Loney-verse saga is. Favreau-Loney-verse, cut it, print it, Disney Universe podcast. Favreau-Loney-verse saga. I'm excited for that. I won't say that like Ahsoka is the best that I've seen, but I will say that of the characters I've seen come from animated to live action, and obviously numerically it's the most. I mean, there's not really much that's come from Rebels that weren't already in Phantom Menace, right? Like those backup, like ancillary Jedi and shit, who might have been already. Like I was showing Addie, I was like, Dippa Baloba is right there, whatever. That was
one of the
Kanan's Jedi Master, or whatever.
Yeah,
Caleb Doom.
She was in the council when she
was
right
Jedi. There at the beginning of Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Clones, Attack of the Clones. We digress. I digress.
I'm so confused sometimes. One more little thing I wrote down here in my little notes is favorite connection, and what that is like either something from Rebels that connects with something from the prequels, original trilogy, or even something we see in like the new live action Star Wars. Like, for example, this isn't my favorite, but this is one of mine. But this is like an oh shit moment. Was at the end of the finale of the season 1 of The Mandalorian, Moff Gideon gets shot down, blah, 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 goes away. And then you see them just, okay, we're going to go off and stuff, and pans back to the TIE fighter crashed with a bunch of Jawas, and all of a sudden, big old square cut out. You can't really make what the blade is, but you just see some darkness and some light. Then you realize Moff Gideon as a freaking Darksaber. Last time we saw the Darksaber was when Sabine gave it to Bo-Katan, and all the clans supported her as the ruler of Mandalore. So then Fade of Black, that's it. That's season 1. I'm like, wait, the Darksaber shows what the hell just happened. So, but ever since now, we've gotten so many references from Rebels. So, do you have any favorite connecting the dot moments? Or,
I mean, I guess technically I got into Rebels because of Mandalorian and Bo-Katan. That was the first episode when they showed up in season 2, I believe. But I was like, I vow from this time to never be left out on a reference from past Star Wars. And I think I did pretty good on that. Although my comeuppance from that best was maybe Cad Bane. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's that.
Cad Bane was good. I was very excited for Cad Bane. But
yeah. Absolutely.
Rebels was good. I watched it after the fact. It's really good Star Wars storytelling, as far as like people complaining about the sequels and the Solo and Rogue One and stuff. It really has a lot to do with everything around it, and it might make you like everything around it more. So
no, absolutely.
I'm super high on Rebels for those reasons.
One of my favorite connections, and I'll kind of like, there's so many, but is, well, first of all, one of the things they really plugged about the show was the Ghost, and it was like, oh, this ship is like the home base. It's going to be like the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, whoa. Don't compare this little new ship to the Millennium Falcon. That's sacred ground. Fast forward to the show, the Ghost is my second favorite ship next to the Millennium Falcon because it is that badass of a ship. I'm glad they didn't give it the Razor Crest treatment of blowing it up, because this ship is amazing. Love seeing it in live action, especially in Ahsoka, but it was really cool to see it in some of the fight scenes in Rogue One, in Rise of the Skywalker, and the final battle. You see the Ghost flying around. And it is the Ghost because I was actually listening to the audiobook version, and when Lando and Chewie show up to the battle, they actually, in the book, they do a little recall to the A New Hope where, Red 5 standing by, Red 3 standing by. So you actually, in the audiobook, you hear like Lando's like, all right, everybody report, who's in, and you hear like, you hear Kaz from Resistance. You hear
Kaz is there.
Yeah, just in the audio, but you hear a female voice saying Phoenix 1 standing by, or I'm like, it's a Ghost.
Everybody's shading Kaz. Give some respect to my boy.
Yes.
Kaziono.
But not his dad. He's an asshole.
Nah, he's a dick.
But no, I just love seeing the Ghost in live action. And like I said, especially in Ahsoka, some of those scenes is flying, especially when they're looking for Ahsoka in the water, flying over the water, flying through the Purgles. Yeah, I love the Ghost. So that was one of my favorite connections.
Normalize showing dope television shows in theaters. Can we do that? I know the only reason I got to see what I saw was probably because there was a strike going on for writers or actors or whatever, because no one was promoting this shit.
Yeah.
But I was stoked as fuck to see what I saw. I think it was episode 5. I don't know if it's called World Between Worlds or whatever, but it was, right when the stuff took a turn for the Clone Wars and Rebels. I don't know. We're talking Ahsoka again. I'm getting off base, but
Well,
I would love to see Rebels in the big screen. Gareth Eberilius is my favorite, and I guess to try and bridge it to where it may be going, I think we could definitely see other characters from Rebels show up in, obviously not the Acolyte, because that's thousands of years before, but any sort of future development with Rey that's going to happen, as they've already signed Daisy Ridley on for more movies. But any sort of Mandoverse thing that happens. Wait, who are we talking about? Yeah.
Too much sun today.
It could happen. They were around in Mandoverse times. Okay. Mandoverse is out here, but
yeah, still about 30 years before Rey. Right now.
Well, okay, so Rebels is before that. So Rebels is before Rey.
Yeah.
Apologies. I don't know how far I was getting. But anyway, I think it's not too far to think that we could see some characters from Rebels jump out into the sequel universe. We've already seen Zeb in the Mandoverse, and obviously Ahsoka, everybody they're in the Mandoverse, right?
Yeah,
Ahsoka is associated with Mando.
You could still see Ezra. He would be a little old, but he'd be about the age of Luke, if not a little bit older.
But this is all pre-episode 4 that we're dealing with, right?
Except the epilogue, like you mentioned, but mostly yes.
But the epilogue of Rebels is Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And that's...
Which is still like a year to 2 years after Return of the Jedi, depending on where they time it.
So it's in the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
So people are still asking if Ahsoka had seen Mando in the time when they start that show.
I think so, because they changed the time a little bit. So
I don't know. We're
cracking me up, dude.
This is essential Rebels right here. I mean,
yeah,
these are Rebels in the Mandoverse in the current Star Wars timeline that at least Disney's worried about. And as long as we stay worried about it, they're worried about it. I don't know.
And just keep bringing them to Galaxy's Edge, because those character interactions with Ahsoka, with Hera, are awesome.
Speaking of Galaxy's Edge, we will be celebrating 5 years of Galaxy's Edge, as well as 5 years of The Rise of Skywalker. Surprise, surprise. I don't think we expected that. I don't think anyone ever expected a milestone anniversary to come for that movie, or maybe we did, but no one was looking forward to it, right?
I wouldn't say no one, but...
Were you like, oh, I can't wait till we could like talk about The Rise of Skywalker?
I'm always ready to talk about Star Wars, any Star Wars. I mean,
am too.
We're going to be talking about the Caravan of Courage soon too, and so I mean,
always excited to talk about Star Wars. But I guess my point is just that I feel like 5 years of Rise of Skywalker crept up on us, and that is in our milestone anniversaries. I think we are planning to package it up with the also 5 years of Galaxy's Edge, but 2 in the Disneyland Park and Hollywood Studios Park at Disney World in Florida.
Yeah, it's gonna be a combo show.
But we're looking forward to that, because those are all things I think I've been just as involved in everything except for the I've been just as involved in what's it called? Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker. I was there for you. Win the war. Anyway, I'm taking it away from Rebels. But I'm ready for Rise of Skywalker. I'm ready for bit 2. And if you guys are too, please make sure you're following us over at Disney Universe Podcast on Instagram and comment on the post. Let us know how you feel about those properties that we're excited to celebrate anniversaries for.
Absolutely. And before we end, I just kind of want to. One thing that it's funny because, and this goes to Rebels and Clone Wars and even Resistance, but like a lot of people have missed out on these awesome shows, awesome content, Star Wars content because they're cartoons, they're kids shows, but it's like, nah. Like I said, once Clone Wars did start off very kiddish, but once they realized they could do so much with it, I mean, they got some really cool shows, episodes, storylines. But like I said, Rebels is one of the best Star Wars content. Are you going to get your keyboard?
Am I going to hit my keyboard?
I don't know if it's going to pour on your keyboard for a second.
I hope not.
But I still stand by this to the day that I die, that Rebels as a cartoon is one of the best Star Wars content, storylines, characters, anything. And you reminded me of a really cool video of that one. If I'll let you actually introduce.
No, before you get there, because you're talking about it, and I don't think I've said it, but I'd say like pound for pound, the way they talk about fighters. I think Rebels is the best Star Wars there is. So minute for minute, if you're like dividing how influential or amazing every minute of Star Wars is for every movie, every show, whatever, I think Rebels is the best Star Wars there is out there. For what that's worth, and if you're anyone who watches that much Star Wars, you know what that's worth. So hopefully you've watched it already. You probably have. And hopefully you agree with me. If you don't, that's the beauty of this podcast world, this universe. Comment on this YouTube post. Let us know. Interact with us over at Disney Universe on Instagram. But we love Rebels. I think it's what I just said.
Yeah, we love
what Joe was saying. We are talking about a comment, a video, something from the Star Wars archives.
Yeah, real quick though. Not only the show, but we love the actors, all the voice actors on the show. They love this so much that they're great ambassadors for Star Wars and the show, and they are still a huge family. So, and that I just want to throw that in because I'm a big fan of all the actors in the show.
Star Wars Celebration, Rebels, Clone Wars, all they be hanging out. Don't cross them. That's what we need to know. We got to give a big shout out to our boy Kanan Jarrus, because as much as I love him in the show, he is a great character, a great Jedi. Kanan Jarrus is. He is a great Star Wars nerd, and he is going to show that to you right here in this clip, where he is talking about people in their preconceived notions or their feelings about the sequels, the prequels, and how they don't resonate with them as much as their older people and as they used to maybe when they first saw the original trilogy when they were younger. So this is Freddie Prinze Jr., Kanan Jarrus, preaching gospel about Star Wars fandom. Get it.
I did a Star Wars cartoon, so even I get hate from Star Wars fans when I'm like, look, dog, you're just mad the franchise isn't aging with you.
Right.
But that ain't how it works. The first one was for fucking kids.
Right.
The second three were for different fucking kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is for kids. You just pissed off that Han Solo gave the fucking Millennium Falcon to a girl.
Yeah.
That's it. Because Luke Skywalker's Cinderella. Or Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
Okay, he can talk to things, don't speak English, and understands what they're fucking saying.
Yeah.
He gets a fairy godfather instead of a fairy godmother who teaches him how to be the best Jedi in the world in no time fucking flat. And everybody, like, I know more about the Force than most people because Dave Filoni taught me and George Lucas taught him. And all these video games fuck people up on what the Force is. Like, Luke's skill doesn't dictate whether he wins or loses. Right. The Emperor doesn't dictate whether he wins or loses. The Force dictates who wins or loses based on balance. And here's the quick version on how to explain it to all these people who fucking think they get to decide. In the first if you want to do this like time-wise, Palpatine, you would say, and Yoda are the smartest two. Palpatine clearly smarter because Yoda was blind to the power of the dark side and the seduction of Anakin. So let's talk about this of Anakin fucking Skywalker for a second. If the Emperor is the smartest dude in the universe and knows that the Force dictates this, if he kills who he sees as a rival, Anakin, then he knows the Force is just going to fucking correct that because the Emperor knows this. These are George Lucas's words, not mine. So fuck you if you disagree with me. Straight up, this is information, not affirmation time. Straight up, man. So the Emperor knows that. So instead of killing Anakin, what does he do? He seduces Anakin to double the strength of the dark side. So then what does the Force do? It balances us. How? It gives us twins, Luke and Leia, 2 and fucking 2. Balance. And if you look at the movie through just that simple perspective, you will not only know why every single bad guy loses and every single good guy loses, you'll know who's going to win and lose in the next fucking movies. I can tell you, I just don't want to wreck it. People bitch about the dumbest shit like it's archetype characters. This is George Lucas's words. There is no Jack Bauer in Star Wars. That character doesn't exist. It's not
24.
Reluctant hero. Okay, he's a reluctant hero. That's the archetype. Darth Maul, who everybody wants to win, and he's everyone's favorite because he looks sick and he's great in the video games.
Does look cool.
Fuck you guys. He's Sisyphus. He is born to fail. Learn your Greek mythology, like I don't know, George fucking Lucas did. He's cursed to roll a boulder up the hill, only to have it roll to the bottom again every single time for eternity.
Yes.
That is Darth Maul's quest.
Yes.
He's in on the joke, you guys. He knows it. He's just cursed to live that life. Again, not my opinion, George Lucas's. So go fuck yourself if you disagree. You don't get to level up in the Star Wars world. That's a fucking video game. There's no such thing as a gray Jedi. Qui-Gon even says, I turn towards the light because it's there. There's no gray. That's pretend fan fiction shit, which is cool, but don't try to canonize it because it doesn't work. And I'm never going to buy it ever. Star Wars is for fucking kids. Sorry. I'm sorry.
3 minutes of gold. Freddie Prinze Jr., a.k.a. Zach Seiler from She's All That.
But on this show, Kanan Jarrus. So
yeah, he can get that. He can get that, man. Motherfucker was spitting.
But yeah, I mean, I know that got a lot of play when that happened a few years ago. So, but we love that our actors are passionate about Star Wars, as we are too. So, but we will see you guys next week with a new Star Wars anniversary, and be sure to, like I said, subscribe, like, and hit that bell, and let us know what you think. But once again, want to wish you guys a happy Star Wars month of May. We will see you guys next time. May the Force be with you all.
And beer with you.
And sun.